Hi everyone, in this video we're talking about working with an external team. Occasionally, as part of a project your team is working on, you may need to coordinate with an external team who may be completing part of the project or related item. So working with a team inside your organization is very different to working with a team outside of your organization, and in this video we'll have a look at the potential problems that can arise as well as the ways of resolving those problems. So what are the potential problems with working with a different team? There are some obvious things, such as the other team being in a different time zone or language barriers. For example, if you're a software development company based in the UK which outsources some of its coding tasks to a team in India, despite using email and the same project management software to communicate, differences in time zones can result in delays in receiving feedback or clarifications. Misunderstandings arise due to language differences and cultural nuances, leading to errors in code that need to be corrected, causing project delays. Generally, these issues are so blatant and in your face that it's almost difficult to not resolve them from the get-go. The trickier issues are the ones that fly under the radar, the assumptions that are made based on your own working practices. So let's have a look at those. It's quite likely that both teams have different communication styles. And that could just be in terms of not just technical software, but also communication software. Maybe there are certain discussions that in your organization are done face-to-face or via virtual meetings, while other organizations complete these via Slack or email. And this doesn't have to be a problem. Simply, assumptions shouldn't be made even at this basic level. With the rise of virtual meetings, there's a new protocol for everyone. And as this is so new, a consistent routine isn't seen in all organizations. So for example, where I work, we use a hands-up approach in meetings. When we want to speak, we put our hands up virtually, and it stops other people from jumping in. It stops people from talking over one another. Generally, I quite like it. There's an order to who goes next. And it's not always the loudest member of the team. However, in other places I've seen, people just generally speak, and that works perfectly fine in their organization. And the hands-up approach would come across as strange. Different teams have different approaches to problem solving, and so there may be some sensitivity needed to adapt to bridge between those two gaps. Ideally, the leads for both of those teams would speak first and have that shared understanding so the teams can be guided. Clearly, external teams will have different priorities. It could be an agency team, a contracted team that you brought in for a small part of your project. They're going to have different priorities and goals which align to their broader organizational goals, while internal teams won't necessarily have that. External teams could be working on different deadlines and have different projects on the go at the same time. So coordinating all that can be tricky and is reliant on good contracts and again, good communication. Quite likely, different teams will have different QA processes, quality assurance processes. Making sure that the quality expectations are met is something to consider. Again, it's about those assumptions. For example, a marketing agency hiring a freelance graphic designer to create promotional marketing for a client. Does the graphic designer really understand the client's brand identity and messaging? Are there QA processes in place to ensure the final product meets the client's expectations? In other words, removing those assumptions. And of course, managing costs is going to be challenging. If there's a scope change or unforeseen expenses, cost overruns, etc., that's going to be an issue. Okay, so these are issues with internal teams, but when you're working with an external team, you have to understand, as I said earlier, they have their own goals and priorities. Will they be available for an additional 2 months of work due to a change in scope? A lot of these challenges can be resolved by ensuring there's a clarity of the common goal. Take time to build trust and relationships with the external team members. If it's an agency, it can't just be a case of, okay, my organization is paying so you do the work. Take a bit of time, build that trust, build those relationships, ensure you have an effective communication channel in place and an effective way of sharing information. There is the potential for security concern depending on the nature of your work. For example, partnering with an external development team to build a mobile application. During the development process, sensitive user data could be compromised due to inadequate security measures implemented by the external team. You now face legal and regulatory consequences as well as damaging trust with your users and investors. Again, going back to assumptions, don't assume their security processes are as secure as yours. I hope you found that look into working with external teams useful. If you did, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.